Welcome to another meeting of TVholics Anonymous. Welcome to another meeting of TVholics Anonymous. My name is Ruru and I am a TVholic. Now, today I don't have my co-host with me because she has not watched this show that I'm about to talk to you guys about. And that show is Love Contract. So Mimi will be back, but this is not something that I'm gonna recommend to her because personally, I did not get a hype around this show. So this is a K-drama, and like I said, it's called Love in Contract. Or did I just say Love Contract? But it's called Love in Contract. So there's so many things that I found like irritating and annoying about this show. I actually thought it was going to be way better than it was. I don't know why I thought it'd be better, but I thought it'd be something about like law, like I don't know why, but it turned out not to be. Anyway, so basically what I did not like about this show is the cast. Let's just talk about the cast. I didn't like the main character, the main guy. He was Jung Ji-ho. Again, if I'm butchering it, sorry. But he was really annoying, and I felt like in the beginning they kind of like tried to like trick us into thinking that he was like a serial killer. Or spoiler alert, guys, sorry. Should have said that before I launched into that. Yeah, he was like, they were trying to trick us into thinking he was a serial killer, and that kind of that this woman got killed and he was kind of like following her, but he turned out to be the judge, and we kind of felt scared for the woman who was like doing all these marriage contracts with people and like with guys, and you know, like they were paying her to like marry her, and you know, for like all their various situations or various needs, like some people's families, like this one guy that she became really good friends with and she lived with, eventually ended up living with, he was gay, so he had to kind of like he hired her because he wanted his family to think that he was straight or whatever, like fulfill their wishes. So that's why he hired her. They became really close friends and they lived together. They got divorced and stuff, but you know, stayed close friends. And then that was understandable. But then she had all these other random guys, like this guy who wanted to go to his college reunion and other randoms. Like it was just getting a bit really weird. I felt like it was just like thinly veiled, like kind of like it was alluding to like something along the lines of like prostitution or something, but not really. I don't know. I can't really tell what was going. I could tell that nothing was going on, but like it's hard to believe that nothing was going on at the same time, if you know what I mean. If you've watched it, then you'll probably know what I'm talking about. It was really not believable, and it wasn't believable that people were going to pay her large amounts of money, like to meet up with her weekly and then, you know, pretend to be married to her or pretend to be engaged to her or pretend to, you know, go out on dates with her. And then she'd basically hand out this card. She had like cards made, and she was like, I think like a love helper or something like that. It was just so weird. And now let me just talk about that actress as well. I thought that actress looked a lot older than the two men that were playing her love interest in the actual show. And she was extremely thin and extremely like malnutrition looking. Also, I know in South Korea everyone gets a lot of plastic surgery, but there was something going on in the lip area, bad filler or something. Something went wrong and something just didn't look right in that area. I've seen pictures of her because I searched her before I came on here, and she looked pretty normal before she had procedures done or Like, I think before she got the procedures done that she had on this show. But I don't know why people would like do that to themselves. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, yeah, so the other guy, the actor, who also was a Chaebol, I hope I'm saying that right, like a son of a large conglomerate family in South Korea, he actually was very good looking, and he, I feel, should have played the role of Jiho instead of playing the role of the actor, which I thought was really frustrating. I also didn't like the way they, portrayed the other characters in the show. So, like, Jiho's ex-wife, I feel like she could have played. She's very pretty, and she could have played the role of the main character, who was Jamie, the girl Jamie. She could have played Jamie, and that would have been much better because she was more expressive as well and everything. And Jamie just looked like she was the child of Jiho because Jiho's very tall as well, and Jamie's just very short and like very, like I said, skinny, and but she looked much older than him, and it was just like all weird. Also, I just don't feel like Jiho was like, good looking enough to play the lead role and to be the like. It's not believable that he was the. It's not believable that they were both like pining over her, and it's also not believable that she picked him over the actor because the actor was way better looking. Also, I believe the best friend, um, I believe it's Kangnam. He was really good looking as well, and he could have played the role of Jiho. Jiho and Kangnam could have like swapped. I don't know why they didn't do that. I don't know if this guy that played Jiho is a really popular Korean actor. Not sure. But yeah. So let's go on to the mother. So the mother, I found her to be like really elegant and poised, and I know she's playing that role, and she embodied that kind of character really well. And to me, she came across as like very, you know, someone who is rich and very much in a power position. And even the way she carried herself, like her posture was excellent. The way she like lifted up a glass and drank from it, the way she sat, the way she walked, the way she just turned her head, everything was like immaculate. Yeah, I think she's a really good actress. Then the guy who played the actor's brother, um, the crazy guy, I believe it was Sunjin, Jin, Kan Sunjin. Again, sorry about the way I'm pronouncing stuff. Not really a natural at it. It's not my first language or second language, or it's just Korean dramas are just something I've got into recently. So yeah, basically he was a good actor. I really felt like he was quite psychopathic and like he could really like hurt someone. So he did a good job. Then the so Jiho is a judge, and his team, I think Yumin, Kim Yumin, is, I think she was like the leader of his team or whatever. That they work for him basically. Um, she, I believe, was pretty good, very convincing, and she looked really upset and pissed off and then happy, and she has a really good range of emotions, very believable actress, and I liked her character. I felt like they could have done her like more justice by developing that character, but they did not, which was annoying. I don't believe there was. Oh yeah, so both the Chaebols, they didn't really expand too much on both the fathers and the mothers. I know, like the actor, his mother, was like they said she was an alcoholic when he was growing up, and she was never there for him. And then they became like a happy family in the end. I just don't get it. And everyone was just happy that for him to like stand down from his position in the company, because the mom complained to the dad and said that um he wants to do what he wants to do and let's just let him. So she had a 360 turnaround because she wanted him to basically rule the company, take it over from his dad, and she was trying to get him to do that her whole life. And then he kind of agreed in the end. And then because Jamie went to talk to the actor's mum about how that's what her mum did to her, and it's not right. And it's not right, basically, what you're doing to your son. And he's my friend, and I can see that he's hurting. She just had a sudden change of heart. And then the dad, when she yelled in front of the dad agreed as well, and they both let him basically not have anything to do with the company and just get on with not have anything to do with the company, but just let him go back into into the acting world and set up his own like acting company and stuff. That was interesting. And then they had like a moment of like having one of the guys that Jamie worked for, who had a contract with her. He kind of, in the beginning, we see her going to his mum's funeral because she was married to him as part of the marriage contract thing. And then his mum passed away like a couple of years later, and he said, "Can you come to the funeral? And I'll pay you for the last time to come to that." So that was all right. He was like perfectly fine. And then later on, we realized that he was a stalker stalking her and trying to stab her or whatever. I don't know, because he kind of like snapped and lost his mind in the end. And then they just kind of like dropped the charges against him, and it was just all very messy. But like there was no real conclusion. There was no real like urgency for anything in the show. There was no real like, it was like boring, and I can't believe I like sat through and watched the whole thing. I don't know what possessed me to, but I already knew from, I guess, about episode 2, halfway through episode 2, that I was not going to enjoy this show because there was no real like substance to it. There was nothing really compelling to like, dig your teeth into. It was just boring and nonsensical, basically. And a lot of the storylines didn't like add up. So basically, also the mother, Jamie's mother, she had an assassination attempt on her life by one of the Chaebols, because she was going to she threatened to expose the Jamie project to the world, basically, to Korea, if the Chaebol did not agree to take Jamie back and into the family and stuff. I think basically he is the father of her. He's the father because she was actually in a relationship with him before he got married, and she was working for him, and then he got married, and she kind of went off and had the child and didn't tell him. And that wasn't resolved either, because after the assassination attempt and Ji-ho saving her, there was no real, like, why wouldn't the Chaebol try and assassinate her again? Because she had the chip, not the chip, the drive with all the information exposing him. Like, it made no sense. There was no like end to stories. There was just like, oh, okay, then we're gonna wrap it up neatly with a bow. But there was no like there was too many loose ends. That's what I'm trying to get at. There was too many loose ends, and I just felt like everything was very disjointed. And they kept filming a lot in Ji-ho's house because he kept making dinner for Jamie. So as part of her marriage contract, she'd come over, I believe, on like a Monday, Wednesday, and a Friday or something like that, or a Saturday, 3 days a week. And he'd always make dinner for her. And I just find that really hard to believe because I know in South Korea they have really long working hours, and I don't think that it would be possible, or like I think that he'd be really tired coming home from like his job, which is very stressful and demanding. He's a judge in a family court, so he's hearing like family court cases every day, and then he has office hours where he's like going through cases. He's got stacks of paperwork, and they often do like all-nighters, not all-nighters, but you know, they often don't get home until pretty late. And then he'd come home on those days and he'd cook for her, and then he'd clean up the whole kitchen, and then basically go to bed and go back to work early in the morning. It's just not really, it's not a, it doesn't make sense. The math ain't mathing, basically. So yeah, I don't find that very believable either. So also there was this other character. So the actor, his manager, or like part of his management team, was this young guy, and he, when Kang-nam joined, the gay guy Kang-nam joined the team for the actor as security, because he was a martial arts expert, martial arts teacher. He joined his team. When he revealed that he was gay, and that's what the actor revealed to his management team, the guy was like kind of like homophobic about it, and then you kind of see them getting closer, Kangnam and the other management guy, but it looks like the manager has feelings for Kangnam, and they're gonna get into a relationship, but it amounts to nothing, and it just amounts to friendship. But that kind of steered you in the wrong direction as well. So that was a bit like, oh, that didn't make sense either. So there was a lot of things that annoyed me about this, and a lot of things that didn't make sense. So I just wanted to kind of like get all my thoughts out about this situation, because it was pretty annoying to me, and I would not recommend this show to anyone else. But I want to hear if you actually thought that this was like worth watching. I know that there's like, I read some Reddit threads about it. There's like mixed opinions, but mostly people liked it, which I didn't understand. So that's why I want to know what like others think about it, because I really found it, like I said, annoying, didn't make much sense, didn't have like tidy, cleaned up storylines that ended with like explanations. Everything was just very messy and disjointed. So yeah, that's my thoughts on it. Let me know what you think. Subscribe to the pod, and we'll be back. Bye.